And good morning. It is 22 minutes after 7 o'clock, and joining us in studio this morning from Roswell Baptist Church, we have Pastors David and Joellen Walden joining us this morning. Good morning, guys.
Hi,
how you doing today?
Good morning.
Happy post-Thanksgiving. How was Thanksgiving for you guys here? I know we're a little past it, but we can still.
It was good. We're still full.
Good.
Yeah.
Are you still nibbling on leftovers, or did you finally...
No, we dispersed it among our
freed yourself of these. At first, they're great. You're like, I love them, but they become a burden after a while. You're like, all right, I'm really tired of green bean casserole and
turkeyed out.
Yeah, and there's only so many ways you can put turkey in something. So, well, if you're tired of your Thanksgiving things, then let's turn our attention to Christmas, and let's turn.
Yeah.
This is the most. It's the most celebrated time of the year, really, in many faiths, not just Christianity here.
Mm-hmm.
But Roswell Baptist Church, you guys are, of course, wanting to invite folks out to your Christmas play, and so tell us a little about the Christmas play, and it's going to be on December 12th.
Yes.
But kind of give us the background on this play.
So it's a mouthful. The title of it. I think our kids. Our lead is actually, she's 16, Miss Annabelle Ortega.
Okay.
And she even struggles to remember the whole title.
Everyone's got to whip out a list. Hold on.
Yeah, even me. I've got my phone here. I'm like, okay. But it's called The Unbelievable, Super Fantastic, Truly Amazing Christmas Extravaganza.
Nice.
Yeah, and we've been doing Christmas programs with our kids ever since Pastor Walden and I got here.
Okay.
And it's kind of grown. It started out just with a handful of kids and a very, very, very small budget. And we still have a very, very, very small budget, but we have lots of kids.
Got more kids.
Yeah. And it's just the cutest play. It's about this girl named Carrie.
Okay.
She's the main character. But this church is putting on a Christmas play. Kind of ironic. A church putting on a Christmas play.
So a little bit of life imitating art here a little bit.
Yeah, and they find out that their director is sick. So Carrie has to step up and direct the program.
Oh, okay.
And so she's a little too big for her britches, if you know what I mean. And she's a funny character. And then we have another funny character named Terrence. And they kind of go back and forth. And probably the funniest Christmas play we've ever done.
Very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like it's great. It's obviously when we think about the Christmas season, and there's so much stuff out there, and of course, the story, obviously, the reason why we celebrate this season, we love that. But I also love the fact that it's like, hey, this is a play about all of that stuff it's the same message in some aspects, but now it's not in Bethlehem, the temple, or you be a sheep, you know what I mean? It gives them a chance to kind of do and broaden and kind of put those lessons into life practice, if that makes sense. You know the story, but now here's scenarios where the messages we talk about here and how examples of how, hey, if you go this way, this is what can happen.
Absolutely. And that's exactly what happens is, the main theme of the play is the gospel and trying to explain the gospel to our audience. But there's lots of funny moments that lead up to that, and it leads up to it beautifully.
Sure.
The people who actually wrote the play, it's a company called Majesty Music.
Okay.
So just a plug-in for them. If anyone's looking for great Christmas programs or kids musicals, they write very, very good ones.
Good deal. And I imagine, because I know in the world of that licensing and all, that can get quite pricey. I imagine because they do it for churches and things, it's probably something more affordable.
It is. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, that's for folks out there listening, have never done, kind of performance theater style, just that world in general. It's a lot more than just, hey, we're going to do a play, let's get on a stage and start practicing. There's just so much more to that. And a lot of that's even before day one. You pick an actor, you pick a set or any of that. A lot of it's that behind the scenes, unfun part of the red tape and procuring all that stuff. So it sounds like that it kind of streamlines that for you guys a little bit and say, hey, we don't have to worry about contacting Andrew Lloyd Webber and paying whatever his rights fees are and all that.
Yeah, it's still a lot of preparation. poor pastor, I'm knocking on his door at, what is it, like July?
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm like, hey, okay, it's time to start thinking about Christmas program.
It's like, no, it's like it's 100 degrees out. What are you talking about?
I know. He's probably annoyed with me by now how early I've been doing it. But my co-director, Lainey Shaw,
Okay.
she works with me on it, and she's just amazing. I play the piano, and she directs the choir.
Okay.
And then we have another lady, Mrs. Amy Kohler.
Okay.
And she does the set design. But actually, this year, we did something a little different. We had the teenagers really step up.
They kind of got more involved in the planning
Yeah.
and execution of the
Yes.
whole project here.
So
Okay.
pretty much our whole youth department, I don't really think there's an exception. I think our whole youth department
Cool.
is involved, and they're helping Miss Amy with the sets. They're helping us direct, and it's just been
That's
really
great.
neat. Yeah.
Well, and that's important too, because there's many lessons for these kids in
Absolutely.
not just the performance, but the whole putting together of the play and things like that. I that's what I love about projects like this with schools and with the church. There is it's that fact, because they learn so many of those things that you can't really sit down and hand them a book or hand them some literature and say, read this and you will understand how to do. The only way they do it is by interacting and learning and trial and error. I'm sure
Right.
there's probably moments where these kids had a problem, something happened. How do we do this? And they have to work together and solve this problem and do it, in a way that obviously is going to make everybody as happy as possible here. And that's a challenge, for adults and kids getting to learn that in this environment that's some of that side stuff that they learn and really are the important, valuable things that they'll take with them the rest of their lives that you can't really teach in any other setting other than something like this.
Right.
There's no greater teach than hands-on experience.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I imagine it's been a fun maturing process for the kids too, especially, going in probably not, at the beginning, maybe not even knowing the full scope of what's involved with this project. But as they've been working on it this last 6 months, they really have kind of, and then, it becomes probably what was initially your vision is now their vision. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Where you initially came and said, I want to do this play here. And then they take it and make it their own a little bit.
Oh, yeah. Our teenagers did that especially.
That's cool.
Our kids, they've been doing it for long enough that they just know they come in and learn the songs. But they haven't memorized and down pat.
Sure.
But our teenagers, they really took on the message for the play.
Good deal. Good deal. We have another guest here with us. Do you want to introduce with us here?
Yeah, this is Brother Tracy Ford. He's one of the members at the church
Hi.
and a big promoter of the Christmas program. So.
Well, good morning. Good morning. Welcome to the show here. How you doing today, sir?
I'm doing fine. Thank you very much.
Good deal. So, we were kind of talking about the play here and everything a little bit here, and that's a nice ringtone. That's a Murphy's Law. We have, if you have your phone on, it's guaranteed to go on during the show here. Let me ask though, what's the age range of the cast here? Like you said, I know you got some teenagers here, but what's our youngest and what's our oldest here in the group of kids involved?
So, David, you'll have to help me, but I think it's anywhere from 4 years old to about, I think our oldest is 20.
20. Okay.
Yeah.
So you got everything from young to getting right up to, well, almost adults here, or in some eyes, adults at this point. So that's great. Good deal. Now, I want to ask, what's like the work schedule like for these guys? Because obviously they go to school and stuff. So, how long's been the practice schedule? And, because I'm sure these kids have put in a lot of time and effort.
Yeah. I think if you ask them, it's too long. But yeah, we have the teenagers come in at 4:00 and they do their acting till about 4:45. And then the kids come in. Yeah. Just once a week on Sunday, so they get about an hour and a half to 2 hours of practice.
Oh, okay.
Once a week.
Good deal.
I think that's really good because growing up in high school theater, we were every day, for 3 hours.
Yeah.
And so
I'm
really proud of them.
And I've worked with like our communal theaters and things in some of our local theater groups here on some stuff, and those schedules for those folks, I mean, it's a big commitment. It's 3-4 times a week, couple hours a night, for months on end until the plague happens and things. So for you to really, in essence, scale it down to where, hey, these kids have school, they have church, they've got 37 other things. We got to incorporate it in. So, I mean, and like you said, in the big scope of things, a couple hours a week is not a lot of time to really for them to get it down. Early. Yeah, that should start in July.
Yeah.
So, like you said, you kind of gave the storyline here of kind of their, this almost a little bit like what's actually going on in real life here, where you have a group performing the play here. How much of that paralleled in real life there, like scenes you were acting or scenes you're doing, and in reality it was actually what was going on in the room at the time? Was there any of those kind of deja vu moments, or just things that are in the storyline that were actually happening because the play is kind of in the same setting as the world you're creating it in?
Probably not in the kids, probably just in myself.
Oh, I gotcha.
I'm just a little overbearing probably in practices.
Well, and that's where passion comes from. Because obviously, if you go in there not passionate about something you're presenting, that's going to rub off on the people involved. That's in anything you do,
Yeah.
You got a football team, you got a coach that's not really caring and just kind of do what you want. That team's probably not going to be very successful. But if you got a passionate coach that's in there, really leading and guiding the athletes, and they're going to be fine. So, you kind of have to bring that, or it's not going to succeed.
Right. And ultimately our passion is centered around, the message of the play. And that's what really drives us, to do this type of production is ultimately we want people to hear the gospel, the story of Jesus Christ. And I'm sure in America, I'm sure Pastor could talk more about this than I do, that everyone knows the story of little baby Jesus, coming to earth, but maybe they don't know the story from the cradle to the cross.
Sure.
And the reason why he came and to earth was, and it says in the Bible, was to be our savior. We needed a savior. We're here in sin. And so his sacrifice and his coming was very, very important. And so that's ultimately what drives us to do.
Sure, absolutely.
To do this type of play.
So in essence, and this what the fun twist on this is what it's in essence, the kids in the play are working on that play. So you're kind of learning the story, but you're learning behind the scenes and how they present the story. And that's what's really cool about this. So it's like a new twist on the story of the birth of Jesus.
Right.
It's you almost get a third lens you're telling it through, if that makes sense.
It's an illustration of a biblical truth.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's in preaching, that's what I try to do, is bring life application to 21st century of what happened in the first century.
Yeah.
And so bring it to our day, and that's really what this play is doing. It's bringing the Christmas story to today in a real life story.
Sure.
And just explain it.
Yeah. And it makes sense because you want to... Obviously, the way people lived in the times they lived in the birth of Jesus, way humans interacted, talked, what they did is different than how it is in 2021. And you're right. It's kind of like a kid cracking open Shakespeare for the first time. You're like, begat who and this and what? And you're like, huh? You sure that's English? You're right. But then you learn but if you present that same story, you could do a Shakespeare story and to kids in a little, and next thing you know, they understand it because you kind of put it into terms that they actually are familiar with, and that's what this story is really doing: is putting the story of Jesus, the birth of Jesus, and putting it in terms that kind of mingle with people living in these times. Versus
the gospel is a timeless message. So just like you're saying, even in Bible times, it was relevant, but it's relevant today,
Absolutely.
In our everyday lives. And so we hope that the people who come to this play, that they'll laugh and that they'll have a good time. But ultimately, we hope that the gospel is just a clear-cut message that they'll be able to understand.
I think it's a good reminder for everybody. Now, obviously, we talk about this play, and we're kind of gearing to, bring the kids. They're going to love it and all this. But I feel it's a message every single human being, especially in the world we live in right now. We live in a time where a lot of people feel uncertainties, feel insecure. They, the things that they took for granted or things that they just thought were commonplace staple. Now we're questioning those things in our society. So what's the one constant? What's the one constant, the one thing that no matter what, we're good? And that's God. And, and I always, in my own faith, sometimes you're like, hey, I don't want to burden God. I feel like I'm all I do is calling and asking for stuff, in my own head, you kind of think that way. But this is the time we need to do that. This is that time that, if you're confused, if you're, a lot of people hitting you with 10 different things and you're kind of like, some of it sounds right. I don't know. What do I do? This is when you need to, talk to God, pray to God, get back connected with God and see, hey, maybe there's some answers there. And and I think this play could be a good reminder for folks, come and do that. So even if you drag that sourpuss uncle that's kind of, I'm not going to this play or whatever, bring him down, sit him down. And I think at the end, maybe it'll crack that armor a little bit and say, you know what, maybe we need to just, let's turn to what God would do on some of this
Absolutely.
stuff. And I think, it's a fun play. You're going to have a good time, giggle, laugh, and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, take that message home with you and say, next time you're accompanying the turmoil or feeling some of the feelings you're feeling, that there's someone in your corner.
Right. Yeah. And at the end of the play, Pastor, he gives a pretty clear-cut salvation message, but he also invites our audience to, here's Roswell Baptist Church.
Sure.
We love you. And the scripture says that, the church is the pillar and ground of the truth. So if you are going through a hard time and you're struggling with truth, that's what we're here for, is to take you through the scripture and to show you truth, to be a bearer of burdens. That's what the church is for. And we have the best pastor in the whole state of New Mexico. I'm a little biased.
That's okay. You're allowed to be.
I'm his wife.
Contractually obligated. No, I'm just kidding.
So.
But I was curious, because how long have you guys been with Roswell Baptist together? How long have you been in the area here?
Let's see. I've been in the area about 8 years. And
about 8 years.
Pastor, 6 years.
Very good. Where did you guys come from originally?
I grew up in Estancia, New Mexico, just outside of Albuquerque.
Okay, so you guys have New Mexico blood. You didn't come
I was
here.
Born here. I actually stole her from Springfield, Missouri area.
Oh, so it was a little culture shock for you.
Oh, yeah.
I know that shock. I'm originally from Maryland, and I was in the military, and so when I got stationed at Holloman Air Force Base, this was back in the 90s, and I'll never forget they flew me into El Paso. And coming from Maryland, being green and lush and everything. Yeah. And I remember we're approaching into El Paso. I look out the window and I just see dirt and brown. First thought was, what am I getting into? Where did Uncle Sam send me? Just a hole in the middle. And we're still in the United States, but well, here I sit, 20 plus years later. I love the place and things like that. Yeah. But it was a culture shock for me too. Mm-hmm. So after 8 years now, I guess you're fully.
Oh yeah,
fully indoctrinated.
I put green chili on everything.
You're good to go.
Yeah.
Now. But it's something that I've come to love, and I'm sure this is something you guys have noticed in the last 8 years, especially if you've come from busier worlds. You know what I mean? More hectic things. That's the thing about this community. We're a great place, and people. We have people that come from other walks of life and call this home, and they welcome them in, and we're real. We're like every other community. You got your problems, but I think overall we're pretty. A lot of organizations work together, help each other out. Churches work together all the time to spread the word, even though everyone's competing at the same time. But it's a good community.
Yeah, it is.
So come out. If you've never been to Roswell Baptist Church, make the 12th your first opportunity.
Yeah,
I haven't even done the specifics here. Now, it's going to be happening on December 12th. What time does the play happen? And I know there's some stuff around it, too.
Yeah, it starts at 6 p.m., and right after we'll have a finger food reception.
So, because it's church, and you got to have food at church.
Absolutely.
That's a rule, especially a Baptist church. That's like a rule.
It
like
really
you can't even open the doors unless someone's got food, I think.
Well, you look in the book of Acts and you almost find the church fellowshipping around food more than you see them at church.
Well, that's how you're trying to bring more people honey than vinegar, right? That's always the thing. And hey, all right, you want to hear the story of God? Not really. You want to have breakfast? Sure. Come on, have breakfast, and then we teach the story. Yeah, that's how it works, And but definitely come out. Now, if you've never been, it's on East Berendo, 700 East Berendo. You can always call if you have questions about anything. Call the church, 575-622-6114. Go online. I just typed in Roswell Baptist Church, NM, because there's another Roswell, and I'm guessing there's a Roswell Baptist Church in Georgia. I don't know if they're doing the same. That would be weird if they're doing the same place, same
if you
time.
want the exact address, it's just rbcroswell.com.
There you go. And if you want to do that, that's the actual address there too. So, so that way, of course, you want to learn more about the church.
Absolutely.
Because obviously, I'd love to have you come out on the 12th. But if you're looking for a new church home, maybe you're new to the area, or maybe you haven't been to church in a while, and it's time for you to say, you know what, it's time for me to go back to church here. Roswell Baptist Church would love to come out this Sunday. You don't have to wait till the 12th to come out to the play. Come out this weekend and enjoy the services and everything like that.
Yeah.
What's service times? Your normal service times on Sundays?
On a Sunday morning, it's 10 o'clock for Sunday school, 11 o'clock for the morning worship, and then 6 p.m. on Sunday night. And then we also have a Wednesday evening service at 7 p.m.
Perfect. So if you'd like to come out to any of those there, and like I said, it's a church event. There's always food. There's always food somewhere there. So come for the food, stay for the worship and the fellowship.
Amen.
Yes, sir.
Is there anything we missed? Anything you want to make sure we tell the public here? I know we got you in here, but
I think you were hitting on it when I came in.
Yeah.
But it's really amazing the work that Miss Joellen is doing, and also Miss Shaw with the kids. Mm-hmm. Because I used to be in the Roswell Theater myself years ago.
So you know exactly what they're going through right now.
And when you have a production with the Roswell Theater, you're meeting every evening. And it's kind of like building a house. You come back and you see where you were the day before, and you start working on that. You're working once a week. You kind of forget where you were a week ago.
Right.
And I'm really quite amazed at how well everything is working out.
Yeah.
Kind of that outside looking in, just kind of watching from afar there.
They've got their lines and working on their blocking, and the kids are really very enthusiastic about this play. Mm-hmm. And I'm trying to get as many people in there as they can.
Sure.
Because it's funny if you're coming in, you've got a half-filled auditorium, but if it's packed, it kind of brings the actor's level up.
Sure.
A whole
Think of it
2 or 3 octaves.
Yeah, think of it like a sporting event. The home team with the home crowd, they're going to be a little bit more pumped up than the visitors are because there's a lot of people cheering there on. Same thing at the play. If they're acting, they're going to work just as hard if there's 2 people out there or 100. But they like 100. You know what I mean? Yeah. They want the thing full, and with that, they're probably going to ramp up. You know what I mean? Because it elevates the whole moment to a bigger level, and people rise to that occasion when that happens. So yes, so you're right. Let's get there and let's pack that room that night and come on out and celebrate the hard work of these kids and absorb the message they're teaching you that night too. That's the important thing here. But come out and support them. And I would say, and I know, because I know there's people out there, live theater, I just want to sit in front of my TV and change the channel. And no. Come support these kids. Come for yourself. I mean, we always say come for the kids. Come for yourself. This is just as much a message to you as it is a message to the kids performing it and learning it. It's a learn and entertaining and celebration. Absolutely. That's something else we need to remember. It's a celebration of God.
Yes. We're also hoping that it will expose our church to new members.
Sure, yeah.
And we had Oktoberfest a couple of years, and we did gain a number of new members from people that came to the Oktoberfest. So we're hoping that this would also do this. The play itself is a story. I don't want to put too much out to this, but one little girl wants to have a part in the play, doesn't think anything about it, doesn't even know anything about Jesus Christ, and she kind of gets to understanding what it is to be saved.
Gotcha.
And to have Christ in her life.
So she had the light bulb moment, so to speak.
But that's really not what she was interested in. She wanted to be a part of a play, but she didn't know what that play was all about. And so in a way, it was a way of witnessing to her.
So she was trying to go one path and ended up finding the path through a different door than the rest of us sometimes.
And, amen. And hopefully it will give a message to, there'll be a lot of people out there that are not saved, not believers, don't really understand it, but might help send the message to them also.
In this case, we want some life to imitate art a little bit there. And maybe that some folks that are struggling on that path themselves watch this play and maybe say, you know what, I need to, because it's a life journey. I mean, if we were, to be honest, if it was easy, we'd need churches and everything else. We just do it ourselves. You know what I mean? That's the thing. It's a struggle. Life is a struggle. Life is going to be a struggle. I don't care where you started on that struggle, where God put you, whether it's here or some other place. But that's going to be a struggle, and we need each other, and part of that, we all need to remember that. And when times get rough, the path is what matters. And if you can use that as that guide, or that way to just know when things are down, where do you turn to?
Well,
if you come away with that, then I think you've got the message.
Also, Mike, there are probably more people that have been saved when they were a kid, as teenagers or even before.
Sure.
And as they've grown up into adulthood, they get into other things and they just stop going to church, even though they were saved.
Sure.
Probably when they're 11 or 12 years old, and
Life distracts you.
They kind of forget that Christ is still with them.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And I can testify to that myself. You know, and you don't think you're saved, but you don't. It's kind of like you have a friend that's there with you, but
Sure.
you never talk to him.
Right. Yeah.
And so this can help people that have already been saved and get reacquainted with the Savior, which is inside them.
So you've been saved once. It's trying to remind you, hey, you've been out of the fold for a little bit. We need to give you a little reminder to come be a part. What the big plan is. It's easy to get distracted, but let's not forget the big plan. And that's the beauty of God. You can fall off that path 1,000 times. You can forget Him 100 times, and things like that. And He's always going to be there for you, right. No matter how much you fell off that path. There's a path to Him.
And that's what our church, we focus on discipleship. We focus on growing your relationship with Christ and salvation. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like when we got married.
Sure,
we established a relationship, but if we didn't talk to each other for years, our relationship would never grow.
Sure.
So our church is here. It talks about in the scriptures to edify or to teach others how to grow that relationship with Christ.
Yeah.
So that you have access to something that's greater than the world. Greater is He that's in you than he that's in the world. And so that's the church's job. That's what we're here for.
Yeah.
And just couldn't speak more highly of Roswell Baptist Church, especially. Yeah. I know a lot of churches have that heart. But,
absolutely. Well, we're running out of time here, but please come out. Yes. Come out, and enjoy the play. If you're looking for something to do, something fun, this is a great thing for that. If you're lost a little bit and looking maybe for an idea, looking for answers, this is for that. If you're just, hey, we just moved to Roswell a couple months ago. We're looking for a church home. We want to come out this Sunday, but come on out to the 12th for the play again. Everything gets underway. What time again on the 12th?
6 p.m.
6 p.m. for the play, and then stick around afterwards for a little social afterwards and some finger foods. But if you can't wait to then come on out to the church this Sunday for services. Yeah. Again, I'm sorry, go ahead.
And how about yourself?
Yeah, I come out on things. And
Mike, we want to see you.
I will see what I can. I'll come out on this one for the 12th. But then come out 700 East Berendo Road. You can go to rbcroswell.com is the website to learn more information. And, of course, don't hesitate to call 575-622-6114 if you have any questions about the church, the play on the 12th here. And, we'll be out there to come out to the play and everything else. And would love to see folks. Now, it's free. Doesn't cost. I think we didn't go over that, but there's no cost. No. You don't need to get tickets or anything. Just come, bring yourself, bring your family. And of course, it's a public setting, so do what you do to protect yourself. If you have questions and concerns about that, wear your mask, do whatever you do to feel best about yourself. But we're going to come and celebrate God, and we're going to have a play, and we're gonna let these kids present the word to us.
Yeah,
So.
yeah.
Good deal. Is there anything I missed? Did we get it all?
I think we're good. Thanks for having us
Anytime.
on.
Love to have you. Next time you guys have anything, you guys just come, even if it's just no particular event per se. Just hey, it's been a while. Come on in and come check us out. We'd love to have you do that.
Thank you.
Thank you guys, and Merry Christmas to all of you. I know we'll see you here on the 12th here, but Merry Christmas, and we look forward to a better, brighter 2022.
Yes. Lord willing.
Thank you guys very much. Have an awesome day.
You too.
All right, it is